reacted. She complained, and then these people tried to go after her. They should stop, and they should no longer be out there intimidating people, using social media now and trying to hurt.
And frightening. But of course he made his choice, right? He's going to go with Ryan. But he said some things about Baldoni there where I just don't think he knows really what's going. What did you think when you saw, Ryan, make light of the situation? I guess try to find some humor.
Once upon a time, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were Hollywood's picture-perfect couple, charming, radiant, and effortlessly witty. Their playful banter on talk shows made them seem untouchable, a duo so in sync that fans believed they truly lived a flawless, laughter-filled life. Social media adored them, crowning the pair as the ultimate relationship goals. But lately, the glow around their fairy tale image has begun to flicker. Whispers from insiders and cryptic leaks hint at something far darker, a power dynamic built on control, manipulation, and quiet domination. Behind the smiles and magazine covers lies a pattern of silencing rivals, burying critics beneath orchestrated press storms, and carefully maintaining an image that may have little to do with the reality behind closed doors.
What Ryan Reynolds, has seemingly done, right, is used his power and influence to not only help Blake Lively take over this movie, but, he's used it, on Deadpool.
The avalanche of rumors surrounding Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively has grown so intense that it reportedly spooked one of Marvel's biggest legends, Robert Downey Jr., who allegedly chose to distance himself rather than risk being drawn into Ryan's comedic chaos and Blake's reputedly controlling influence. For a couple once celebrated as Hollywood's most likable duo, the tide seems to be shifting. More high-profile names are quietly stepping back, signaling that the charm offensive may finally be losing its grip. But none of this surfaced overnight. Whispers of tension have been swirling for years, from the notorious fallout with Justin Baldoni, which many believe was carefully orchestrated by Ryan and Blake together, to the awkward friction with Anna Kendrick, whose encounters with Lively have been described as icy at best. Add to that the list of Deadpool collaborators, T.J. Miller, Morena Baccarin, and even original director Tim Miller, who either left or voiced frustration over chaotic, ego-driven environments. When you piece it all together, the pattern feels impossible to ignore. Are Ryan and Blake the shrewd puppet masters manipulating Hollywood from behind the scenes? Or are they simply victims of rumor mills hungry for scandal? Perhaps the truth sits somewhere in between, a power couple fighting to protect their empire as the glossy facade begins to crack under industry politics and pressure.
I'm unaware of anybody, frankly, whose wife has been sexually harassed and has made jokes about that type of situation.
Either way, the cracks in Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's perfectly polished image keep widening, and if the recent whispers involving Robert Downey Jr. are any indication, that shiny facade might be on the verge of a full-blown collapse. Buckle up, because this isn't just another tabloid headline. It's a maze of star power, hidden agendas, and strained alliances, where even a simple cameo request can send shockwaves across Hollywood. Suddenly, the unshakable comedic charm that made Ryan a fan favorite isn't enough to smooth over every mess. This isn't just gossip. It's a cautionary tale about how even the friendliest faces can allegedly mask a ruthless streak waiting for the right moment to surface. For years, Ryan Reynolds was the lovable rogue, quick with a joke, endlessly self-deprecating, and adored for his witty Twitter banter. Blake Lively matched that charm with her effortless glamour and grounded demeanor, together embodying a refreshing, down-to-earth Hollywood love story. But behind the curtain, industry insiders began noticing small inconsistencies, offhand remarks from lesser-known co-stars about Ryan's surprising intensity or whispers of Blake asserting control on set. Initially dismissed as the usual behind-the-scenes chatter, these murmurs began stacking up. Deadpool's runaway success only amplified Ryan's confidence, transforming him from the underdog comedian into a box-office powerhouse who knew his worth and expected the world to know it too. Directors and studios bent over backward to keep him happy, while Blake built her empire through fashion deals, luxury endorsements, and curated public appearances that cemented her as a modern icon. On paper, they were the ultimate Hollywood power couple, two stars thriving in sync, feeding each other's momentum. But beneath that glamorous equilibrium, something darker was reportedly brewing, a dynamic fueled by control, competition, and image management so intense it started eroding the illusion that had once made them seem untouchable. The quiet accumulation of alleged casualties in Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's orbit has become impossible to ignore. Co-stars who felt silenced, directors who walked away citing creative differences, entire press tours seemingly engineered to spotlight only the couple. Yet the whispers didn't truly crescendo until Justin Baldoni's name entered the mix. Suddenly, Hollywood's friendliest power pair was facing darker allegations of manipulation, sabotage, and using their influence to quietly blacklist anyone who dared challenge their dominance. The claims hit hard because Baldoni isn't a scandal magnet. Known for thoughtful projects like Jane the Virgin and his humanitarian work, he's long been seen as one of Hollywood's genuine good guys. So when insiders began suggesting that he'd been pushed aside by Reynolds and Lively, people paid attention. Sources claimed Justin was blindsided, receiving late-night calls, whispered warnings from executives, and subtle instructions to step back from interviews or promotional events. Gradually, a picture formed. Ryan or Blake had reportedly voiced concerns that too many perspectives might muddle a film's message, or that some cast members should take a smaller promotional role. Some alleged the pair even pressured major agencies to pick a side, framing it as you're with us or with him. Not long after, Baldoni's longtime representation quietly dropped him. While no official proof has surfaced, the consistent anecdotes painted a disturbing picture, a coordinated effort to elevate Ryan and Blake at the expense of Justin's professional standing. Worse still, others in the industry began murmuring similar stories, small patterns of exclusion, subtle power plays, and invisible walls that only seemed to grow higher. If they could allegedly ice out someone as respected as Baldoni, who was safe? Over time, hints of his unease began surfacing. Sharp-eyed fans noticed his tense smiles in interviews, the awkward pauses, the diplomatic answers that seemed to dance around something unsaid. A few cryptic posts and offhand remarks only deepened the mystery. Then, the rumors reached a boiling point when talks began swirling about a massive crossover cameo in Deadpool 3. After Disney's acquisition of Fox, fans fantasized about X-Men and Avengers characters finally sharing the screen, with Robert Downey Jr. possibly returning as Tony Stark in a limited appearance. It seemed like a dream moment for Marvel fans, but behind the scenes, that dream cameo would soon become the spark that ignited one of Hollywood's most unexpected and volatile feuds. Who wouldn't want to see the irreverent Deadpool trade barbs with Iron Man? It seemed like the ultimate fan dream, yet the cameo never happened. Instead, whispers began spreading through Hollywood. Robert Downey Jr. had politely declined. Official statements chalked it up to scheduling conflicts and creative direction, but insiders claimed the truth ran deeper. According to multiple reports, RDJ wanted no part of Ryan Reynolds' alleged behind-the-scenes drama. He had heard the stories, accounts of controlling co-stars, directors feeling overshadowed, and manipulative brand plays, and decided to quietly step away. Some even said it was a subtle show of solidarity with Justin Baldoni, an unspoken refusal to endorse the couple's rumored tactics. For someone like Downey, whose career represents one of Hollywood's greatest redemption arcs, it was a striking choice. After clawing his way back from personal and professional ruin, he wasn't about to risk his hard-earned integrity by stepping into a situation that smelled like chaos. That single refusal did more than cancel a cameo. It sent ripples across the industry. If Robert was sidestepping Ryan and Blake, insiders reasoned, maybe the rumors weren't just idle gossip after all. And in Hollywood, perception is reality. Suddenly, executives began wondering who else might start quietly declining Reynolds-related projects. Up to that point, Ryan had been the undisputed comedic darling of the industry, the self-effacing joker who could roast anyone online and charm his way through controversy. But when people began looking closer, that disarming humor started to seem strategic. The cracks were already visible. Tim Miller's departure from Deadpool 2 was the first hint. Creative differences might sound routine, but Miller's guarded comments later suggested something more: control struggles, conflicting visions, and an atmosphere that became impossible to navigate. Then came TJ Miller, who accused Ryan of being oddly mean on set. Though TJ's own scandals later drowned out his claims, they still planted a lingering doubt about Reynolds' off-camera persona. Even Morena Baccarin's drastically reduced role in the sequel sparked questions about possible behind-the-scenes tension. On their own, these incidents might seem minor. Together, they painted a portrait of a performer whose charm masked something far colder: a drive to maintain absolute dominance. Industry insiders began joking that Ryan's humor wasn't just wit, it was a weapon. If you crossed him, he'd make you laugh while cutting you down. The friendly sarcasm that made him so beloved could turn into a precision tool for control. Beneath the grins and Twitter jokes, there were whispers of microaggressions, career snubs, and a growing sense that Reynolds' comedic mask might be slipping, and that not even his charisma could shield him from the fallout forever. Allegedly fueling Ryan Reynolds' behavior every step of the way is his equally formidable partner, Blake Lively. To the public, Blake's image has always been built on charm and relatability. Gossip Girl royalty turned lifestyle darling, with her radiant smile, effortless wit, and homegrown warmth that made her seem like the friendliest face in Hollywood. But behind the curated interviews and cozy recipes, insiders whisper about a very different persona. One that's strategic, protective, and fiercely territorial about her spotlight. Those close to the industry describe Blake as someone who ensures she's never overshadowed, even by her collaborators. A prime example often cited is her rumored rivalry with Anna Kendrick, a co-star equally beloved and arguably more decorated in comedy and box office success. On the surface, the two shared easy banter, but insiders insist the tension was palpable. When the sequel to A Simple Favor was announced, Kendrick's fans assumed she'd receive top billing again. Instead, promotional materials allegedly shifted focus toward Blake, suggesting a calculated effort to emphasize her presence. Whether or not that was Blake's doing, it fed into a growing narrative. She plays the long game, not just on set but in the media itself. Reports claim that when Blake attends public events, the coverage mysteriously tilts in her favor: more photos, headline placement, and spotlight angles curated by a deeply connected PR network. For co-stars, that means scrambling for whatever attention remains. The pattern, some say, mirrors Ryan's approach to Deadpool promotions, though Blake's tactics are subtler, less showman, more chess master. Behind closed doors, she's allegedly the one steering strategy, shaping image, and, when necessary, tightening control. Those same tactics, according to industry whispers, played into the Justin Baldoni controversy. Rumor has it Blake pushed for creative decisions that both elevated her role and diminished his, extending even to off-camera slights. One unconfirmed story claims Baldoni was asked to wait in a basement during a key photo shoot, while Blake's team dominated the production space. Others allege she leveraged agency relationships to quietly isolate him professionally. And in Hollywood, isolation is career death. The industry thrives on alliances, endorsements, and strategic friendships. If these rumors carry any truth, it's no surprise that certain major brands have allegedly grown hesitant to renew deals with the couple, wary of being swept into controversy. Corporate sponsors prefer clean reputations, not whispers of manipulation and infighting. Even within the Marvel sphere, where image control is everything, some insiders reportedly worry that Ryan's next appearances may come under closer scrutiny. Sure, Deadpool 3 remains one of the most anticipated releases on the horizon, but behind the glossy press junkets and tongue-in-cheek jokes, there's a growing unease that the couple once hailed as Hollywood's most charming duo might now be skating dangerously close to overexposure, and the industry is finally starting to notice. If Deadpool 3 ends up overshadowed by a full-blown he said, she said meltdown, or if more co-stars began hinting they felt pressured, excluded, or sidelined, it could damage more than just the film's box office performance. It could threaten Marvel's broader reputation for control and polish. The entertainment industry thrives on illusion, and when that illusion cracks, the ripple effect can be seismic. Robert Downey Jr.'s alleged decision to quietly distance himself from Ryan Reynolds might be the canary in the coal mine, an early warning that Hollywood no longer sees Reynolds as a surefire good-time collaborator. His refusal, if true, also sends a message. A-list stars like RDJ won't jeopardize their own carefully rebuilt legacies by associating with rumored hostility or ego-driven chaos. If other major players follow suit, people like Chris Evans, who has his own close-knit creative circle, or Tom Holland, now one of Marvel's biggest names, Ryan's comedic empire could start losing the high-profile cameos and crossovers that once fueled Deadpool's appeal. Still, much of this remains speculation. Official confirmations are scarce, and Ryan and Blake's fiercely loyal fanbase is quick to dismiss these stories as malicious gossip. Yet skeptics argue that the lack of public proof might stem from the couple's considerable influence. Few in Hollywood would risk alienating two of the industry's most well-connected power players. That leaves one pressing question. Is there a tipping point coming? Some insiders think yes, particularly if a lawsuit like Justin Baldoni's rumored case ever expands into something larger, forcing discovery of depositions or internal studio communications. If that happens, texts or emails might surface, showing whether producers were instructed to exclude specific cast members from press tours or manipulate PR narratives. Evidence like that could permanently alter how the couple is perceived. On the other hand, there's always the Hollywood pattern: whispered scandals that fade into the background when money keeps flowing. If Ryan and Blake continue delivering hit films and sharp publicity moments, studios may well look the other way. Audiences, too, have short memories. If the next movie lands, the controversy becomes just another headline. But if the couple senses real risk, insiders predict they'll pivot hard with a well-timed PR move. That could mean a vulnerable talk show confession, a charitable initiative, or a glossy magazine feature reframing them as misunderstood creatives unfairly targeted by gossip. Alternatively, they might take a quieter route, lying low for a year, letting the rumor cycle shift to someone else, and then staging a polished comeback with a rebranded image. Hollywood has always forgiven its stars as long as they return with the right smile and a profitable project. Still, that grace period has limits. If more people come forward claiming they were marginalized, undermined, or even blackballed by the duo, no charm or clever cameo will save them from an industry that feeds on both success and scandal. That's why their next few public moves are critical. If Deadpool 3 dominates the box office but fans notice missing cameos, like RDJ's, which was once heavily rumored, the absence could reignite all the speculation they're trying to suppress. The same goes for A Simple Favor 2. If its press tour becomes clouded by whispers of tension between Blake and Anna Kendrick, it could bring the controversy roaring back. Anna's fans, especially, are watching closely to see whether she's treated as an equal partner or once again overshadowed by Blake's media machine. The coming months may decide whether Ryan and Blake's public charm remains their greatest asset, or whether it finally collapses under the weight of its own carefully curated illusion. If posters and promotions for A Simple Favor 2 once again appear manipulated to favor Blake, it could cement the belief that she's an unstoppable force demanding top billing no matter the context. On the other hand, if both actresses share the spotlight evenly, some fans may suspect that the studio forced a delicate truce to avoid another wave of negative headlines. Either outcome keeps the rumor mill alive. By now, the so-called meltdown has evolved beyond simple tabloid speculation. It's become a full-blown industry fascination. Observers see Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively as the ultimate cautionary tale of how a charming public image can hide something far more controlling behind the scenes. Their downfall, if it happens, might not come in one dramatic explosion but as a slow erosion. One co-star declining future collaborations, one brand quietly letting its contract lapse, one PR team deciding that association is too risky. In Hollywood, careers often crumble not from scandalous headlines but from the steady drip of doubt, and for Ryan and Blake, that drip has turned into a downpour. The Justin Baldoni debacle allegedly revealed just how far they might go to preserve control, while the rumored friction with Anna Kendrick suggests a repeating pattern. Their supposed interference in Deadpool productions blurred the line between creative leadership and manipulation, and Robert Downey Jr.'s rumored refusal to cameo stands as a quiet but powerful rebuke. Outwardly, the couple remains picture-perfect, posting cheeky tweets, smiling through interviews, and doubling down on their comedic image. But the question is whether audiences and insiders still buy the act. Witty banter only goes so far when whispers of sabotage and ego-driven maneuvering keep circulating. If even a fraction of these allegations are true, then the Ryan and Blake brand represents something very different from the light-hearted partnership fans were sold. That doesn't automatically guarantee a crash and burn. Plenty of stars weather damaging stories and recover, but every fresh rumor makes the illusion harder to sustain. When press tours mysteriously exclude familiar names or cameo rumors evaporate without explanation, people notice. And when someone as respected as Robert Downey Jr. allegedly distances himself, it raises another question: who else might quietly follow? In the coming months, more details are almost certain to emerge, and each new revelation could either confirm the darker narrative or force the couple into rapid damage control. They might lean on their connections, broker new studio alliances, and keep delivering blockbuster hits, banking on profitability to outweigh bad press. But even success can't fully smother a spreading narrative if it keeps talent and directors walking away behind the scenes. Eventually, perception becomes reputation, and reputation dictates opportunity. We may look back on this period as the first visible fracture in the perfect couple myth, a moment when the polished facade began to crumble under its own contradictions. Or perhaps they'll manage another Hollywood reinvention, rebranding themselves through charity campaigns, glossy interviews, or a surprise comeback that resets the narrative. The industry has seen both outcomes play out before. For now, the tension is undeniable, the skepticism louder than ever, and every move they make will be scrutinized for signs of authenticity or manipulation. Whether the golden couple's empire stabilizes or finally implodes will depend on how they handle the next chapter, and whether the public, their peers, and figures like Robert Downey Jr. still find them worth defending. Because in Hollywood, illusion is everything, and when that illusion starts to crack, it can shatter overnight. If that collapse sounds like the clang of an unstoppable meltdown, well, that's one kind of drama even the best PR machine can't completely silence.